The promotional campaign for Bridgerton Season 3 has officially begun, and there's a lot to talk about. If you couldn't tell, I am channeling Penelope in her promotional look, because this is her official promotional look, which I will get into later. Due to some technical issues, I actually am refilming this, but I'm glad that I am. One, because I have a clip of me saying something that ended up happening in the meantime. And number two, there's a new clip that came out today, so I get to add that to my list of reactions. Okay, so the first clip that we got was the Kanthony promotional clip, and I was well and truly gagged. When that showed up on my Instagram, I was gobsmacked. I could not believe what I was seeing. And yes, and thank you, and absolutely. That's all I have to say. I can't add anything to this. It's perfect. It's everything I've ever wanted and more. Thank you for giving it to me, and give me some more. This is, of course, the same style that they used when they were doing Season 2 promo. They released a series of videos exactly like this with Kanthony, and it started with, like, them back-to-back or something, like enemies, and then shoving each other. And then a little while after the season had aired, they released another clip of, like, married Kanthony, and they, like, kiss, and it's the same background and same costume and everything. And that's relevant because it's indicative of what we might be able to expect for Season 3. Disclaimer, I am going to discuss and compare the promotional campaign for Season 2 and 3, just because it's kind of impossible not to, so we will have a discussion about the differences, the similarities, what we might be able to expect, the crossover, things like that. But based on Season 2 promotion, I didn't think I'd be hearing a peep from Kanthony. Let alone a video, let alone their own video. I'm really excited and encouraged about this approach to promotion for Season 3, because this is what they should have been doing in the first place. And that's why people had an issue with the Kanthony promotion, or lack thereof. So the direction that they're going, love it. I'm here for it. I'm grateful. They clearly needed to pivot, and I am so glad that they did. And it just makes me all the more excited for Season 3 and everything that's gonna come from it. Oh my god. A couple other things I noticed. So the dress is obviously the same from the Lady Danbury ball that we saw, the clip from the first episode. But her hair is different, and I'm going to talk about this type of promotional campaign a little bit later and go into why that is. But it really probably is not relevant to the canon or the timeline of the show. This is probably just the look that they chose for Kate and Antony to represent them this season. Also, before I get into it, I do want to talk about the fact that there's a big feud between Polin and Kanthony. I mean, oh my gosh. I personally feel grateful that I actually like both of them, and that even though Kanthony's my favorite, I'm still living for Polin. Like, I'm happy to see them. I'm happy to see them both. This is best of both worlds for me. This is the best case scenario. Since I was, like, really active in the fandom leading up to Season 2, I kind of can see both sides of it. So two things can coexist simultaneously. The first, I can still be salty about the way that Kanthony was promoted during their season, and simultaneously be really thrilled for the way that Polin is being promoted in their season. Those two things can coexist, and they do. So anytime I'm talking about negative aspects of the Season 2 promotion, I'm not trying to take away or detract at all from Polin or their season or their promotion, because they're on the right track this time. Like, this is exactly what they should have been doing. I think that really diehard Kanthony fans should really take this as a good sign and be encouraged, at least tentatively, because it seems like they're pivoting and might be promoting Kanthony more in Season 3, Polin's season, than they did in their own season. But all that means is that we're gonna get some Kanthony, and I take that as encouraging because it's not an end to the story, and so the things that we lacked or missed out on in Season 2, there's still opportunities for it to happen now. And I think we're kind of seeing the beginning of that. Potentially, possibly, hopefully. And also, they know how successful that couple was, which I think was more successful than they even anticipated, so I think they are going to want to capitalize on that in the promotion for Season 3. Getting viewers back, which is also another thing that they weren't able to do after Season 1 with the first main couple. So this is an interesting new strategy to kind of combine both couples that we know. I also think really diehard Polin fans should be mindful of the fact that the Season 2 promotional campaign for Kate and Antony was lackluster, to say the least, and that's a very real part of this. So even if someone's complaining about the way that Kanthony was treated and that there might be an imbalance and that it's unfair, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're hating on Polin either. Coming from the way that things were in Season 2, I really want y'all to put yourselves in our shoes, in their shoes, and imagine if Nicola and Luke and Polin were not getting, like, any of the promo that they're getting right now. Imagine it was all Kanthony. Imagine they were just posting, like, Kanthony and tangential characters, and we had yet to see anything of Polin at all. Or anything of Penelope, or Colin, or Luke, or Nicola. No interviews, nothing. Like, just imagine that. You would be angry, because it is their season. They're the central focus. They're the lead couple. They're the romantic leads. They should be centered at the focus. So try to understand why people are frustrated, because regardless of your preference, the truth is that there is a marked difference in the campaigns already. And this is just the beginning of the season 3 campaign. Now, the it's their season argument is valid, and I see both sides of it. I see some diehard, like, Polin people opposed to Kanthony, I guess, complaining about Kanthony getting promo and being like, they already had their season, this is Polin's season. Sure, yes. But, to quote a lot of people who said this during the season 2 promotion, this is an ensemble show. The same frustration that was happening 2 years ago when Polin was getting more promotion than Kanthony, it's happening again here. So we just need to understand that it's the same thing. So people need to come to peace with the fact that they really are treating it as an ensemble show, and we obviously weren't able to see this put into practice. This is the first time that we've had an opportunity to see this actually play out. And the issue with saying that you already had your season is, yes, but also not fully. Not fully. They're trying to rectify that now by having Kanthony as a subplot, by having them as fixtures in the show. But in our season, the structure of the plot of season 2, which I am getting to my review, I just reread Viscount Who Loved Me, I'm going to rewatch it, it's going to be a whole thing, but the structure did not lend itself to the full breadth of seeing that relationship at all. And it deprived people of seeing, as it stands now, things that both Simon and Daphne, and now Colin and Penelope have gotten as the romantic leads. Again, as they should, deservedly so. So it's not about the fact that they were getting it, it's about the fact that Kanthony wasn't, and that disparity. For example, we never got a singular magazine cover or magazine photo shoot, spread, really any photo shoots barely. I think the only pictures of Simone and Johnny leading up to it were either like cast pictures or from the premiere or red carpet, something like that. The poster itself, you could compare that. I highly doubt that they're going to be putting anyone else in Polin's poster. They didn't in Simon and Daphne's. I understand, again, the narrative structure that they chose and the approach that they went for with the love triangle. I understand why they promoted it that way, but there's an issue in promoting it that way in the first place, which again, I will get into later. We didn't get a lot of spicy scenes. In fact, got one, and that wasn't even a full sex scene. I know there's debate about that, but to me that wasn't a full sex scene even. We didn't get to see them be happy until the literal last 5 minutes of the show. We didn't see them kiss until episode 6. We didn't see them do anything sexual until episode 7, and that was all we saw. Just one. Just put yourself in those shoes. Like, think about how excited you are for this season. Season 3 of Polin. Imagine they give you one sex scene. Are you not going to be, like, a little salty? Are you not going to be a little disappointed if they made you wait the entire season and then crammed it into the last, like, 5 minutes, finally letting them be happy, and let you have one scene of them being spicy? I don't think you'd be satisfied with that. And Kanthony people weren't either. We only saw their engagement in the last 5 minutes of the finale episode. And the epilogue I don't really count, although that was a matter of minutes as well throughout the entire season. We didn't get to see their wedding, even. I am pretty positive Polin will be having a wedding. Simon and Daphne had a wedding. Kate and Antony did not. So, regardless of how you feel about the situation, it's an irrefutable fact that there are things that Kate and Antony were missing that it seems like the other couples have gotten and will be getting. There is a disparity there that you have to acknowledge. It's an ensemble show. It's gonna be a proof in the pudding type of thing. The focus on tangential characters and plots in season 2 was frustrating to say the least, and I think that's mostly due to the fact that the writing simply wasn't as good for the subplots as they were in season 1. Hot take, I know a lot of people might disagree with that, but when people were complaining about this, a lot of people who were probably satisfied with the promotion that they were getting for their ship, were like, it's an ensemble show, when they were getting heat for Nicola or Luke or Polin getting promotion during Kate and Anthony's season. But now that the tables are turned, it's kind of the exact same argument, flipped, but all of a sudden it's different. You know, like the hypocrisy there is an issue. I don't see why acknowledging that Kate and Anthony got gypped a little bit should take away from loving Polin or wanting Polin to have a better promotional campaign either. I don't know why those two things can't coexist, why you can't acknowledge that maybe it wasn't as well done in season 2, and I'm glad they're doing it for my couple in season 3. Regardless of all of these justified or unjustified feelings of indignation, the fact is, we do not need to compare these couples in the slightest. The structure is actually literally antithetical to that. The structure is that we focus on a couple, we have them, love them, live for them, and then ideally continue to keep them in the picture, in and around, as we focus on the next couples that come. And on it goes. That's how it's supposed to be. So there really is no need to compare these couples or for it to be a competition whatsoever. I don't know why you can't like both, or why you can't like one more than the other, but that's okay. I don't know why you can't love Kanthony, but also be fine with Polin having a good promotional campaign. I think this is something not a lot of people have really thought about. They're very different ships. It's impossible to even kind of compare them. They're just so different. Maybe it's easy to speak from my perspective because I actually like both of them. So it doesn't, I'm chilling either way. I'm like, okay, period. Okay, so now I want to talk about the passing the torch videos. Now, while nothing was really new information in those videos because I have watched any and every interview there is to possibly watch, I love to see it. Thank you. I just love seeing this cast. I love any promotion that they're doing. And I think this was a really smart way to tie season 2 and 3 together, to have this passing the mantle of the romantic lead on. I think this sets a good precedent, and I think this will be a tradition going forward. I think we might see videos like this in season 4 of Nicola and Luke passing the torch to the next romantic leads. And I think that's a very wholesome and sweet and very unique thing about Bridgerton that I appreciate. It brings something different. The one thing that I did take away, other than them all looking amazing, when I filmed yesterday, the way that I might put a clip in, but the way that I reacted to Johnny, whew. Ooh, I respectfully. None of the things that came to my mind were at all appropriate to say. I'm just, you look good. I'll just say that, Johnny, you look real good. But the one thing that was sort of new information to me was the fact that Luke and Nicola met up during season 2 to discuss their scenes and talk them through because they knew that they were going to be next. I find this so fascinating. I would love to know what they talked about. But that's one of the things that I love most about the Bridgerton cast in particular. They understand the assignment. And it's really rare that you find actors that are that on point. Not only do they do the homework, but then they have the ideas and initiative to enforce things, and then they have the passion for the characters to portray them. I remember Luke saying that basically he knew that Colin was a big foodie from the books, so he started asking for food to be brought in that he can just always be eating in the background. That wasn't on the page. Okay? He made that happen. So I really love that these actors really infuse the show adaptation with a lot of nods to the book, with a lot of their own interpretations and new things. It just makes it so much more satisfying because I'm like, you get it. You just really understand it. These people understand these characters. They love their characters. They're doing everything that they can to have it be as complicated and layered as it is. I just think they're icons and legends for that. But I really find it fascinating to think about those scenes and like what they discussed and what they talked about, like the analysis, the prep, all of that. I just find that so fascinating. I would love to know what they talked about. But I love that they talked. You know what I mean? Like, I love that those scenes, they didn't have to do that, but they did. And that's why they're iconic. And that's why they're the best. And that's why they're perfect for these characters. The casting director, period. Period casting director. Oh my god. As for the Polin clip, there's a lot of elements to this. So first off, I just want to say she looks good. I just want to take a second, because I'm kind of proud of myself. Like, this is pretty good. We got the blue top with similar bust line. We got similar hair. We got this thingy, not a flower, but it's blue, and it's a blue butterfly, which I think is their house sigil. And, you know, the same part, and oh, I even did the stupid little curl, which, by the way, Nicola looks So good with those dumb little curls.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now, come on now.
It was ridiculous and really difficult and a little painful, even. And I have no idea how they did it back then. I have the makeup, too, as well. The peach lip and the goldish eyes. It's obvious that the makeup and hair department really tailors their styling to each individual. And, like, as they should. Historical accuracy be damned, like, style it to your lead. Season 1, I actually really liked the baby bangs, or when she had no bangs, but baby tiny bangs. And her bangs a lot, but sometimes the big bangs were a little sus. Do you know what I mean? But Phoebe was so stunning, she just pulled it off. Season 2, Simone, they went from an arc of her having really, like, snatched back, like, tight hair, which I was not the biggest fan of, but it makes sense narratively for her arc. And then once they were unraveling that, you know, she had the, like, loose curls framing her face. That's complimentary to her. There's something about Nicola's face shape, I guess. Those curls just look so good. I am gagged every single time I see it. It looks so good. And that seems to be her, like, default hair, pretty much, more or less, with a different accessory or something like that, which I am elated about. Second, these are the official promotional looks for Colin and Penelope. This is what you will be able to expect on the book cover tie-in, I believe. This is in the same videos. This is just going to be in every promotional image. That's what they do. They basically choose the look for the character that they want to represent the entire season. And they use that in all the photo shoots, in all the video clips, anything like that. They did the same for Kate and Anthony. I remember being confused at that because I was like, okay, well, that's not Kate's Pall Mall dress. And they switch and swap things as well. Like, even in this year, Kate's dress is the same, but the hair is actually different. It has a different accessory. In season 2, like, Edwina's didn't match. Like, the costumes don't match. It doesn't mean anything chronologically or canonically for the show whatsoever. It's completely a separate thing from that. So they just choose whatever they like aesthetically, and then they do that. So these are the choices for Penelope and Colin. This is a similar dress to the Moonlight dress for Penelope, but it's different. We've seen this in a couple of other promotional images that have been released before. Now these 2 teasers, these are the looks. I also want to say that these promotional things don't necessarily mean anything for the show. In season 2, I put a lot of thought into these types of promotion, and it ended up meaning absolutely nothing. So don't be surprised if they end up having literally no bearing or no connection to the actual show itself at all. Again, this is mostly for aesthetic purposes and just getting a general vibe and look for the season. I have an unpopular opinion, and this teaser just added another thing in that column of me going, doubtful, and that is that I highly doubt that there is going to be an actual mirror scene in the show. I know that seems ludicrous to a lot of people. I just highly doubt that it will be there. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love nothing more than to be proven wrong. I want that. Let me see it. Let me hear the words, in fact. But it's just the type of thing that could so easily be translated awkwardly or badly that I think they're going to avoid it. And I think that this is their way of paying homage to the book, nodding to the fans, and doing a little wink wink. We know that Colin said that freaky shit. Like, it's the mirror in Penelope's poster, this mirror. I think that's what they're doing. And they can put their little mirror emojis and the captions and things like that as a way to, you know, wink wink. But I just have a hard time seeing it. And you know what? It's funny. There's a lot of stuff from Viscount Who Loved Me that I thought would be adapted, and then it absolutely was not, and I could have never predicted that. So I just have a hard time believing that, like, all of these super iconic moments are going to be adapted exactly as they were in the book. They may do a lot of nods to mirrors, you know what I mean? Like, it may be that, or they might change something about it. They might do, like, one of their sex scenes ends on a perspective shot from a mirror, or something like that, where it's, like, giving it to you, but not really. They did that with season 2 and the Serpentine as well. It was giving it to us, but not at all. So I would not get your hopes up too much for too many of these things, just out of an abundance of caution. But I would love to see it. I would love to be proven wrong. I would love nothing more than to be proven wrong, because I would like to see it. And to be fair, the iconic moments in Romancing Mr. Bridgerton are more easily adaptable to screen than a lot of the iconic moments in The Viscount Who Loved Me. When I was reading The Viscount Who Loved Me, I was like, this is iconic. It'll never happen. I just knew. I was like, this is just not going to work. It's not going to translate on screen. But we might have more luck with Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. So this clip has me confused and confounded because I've gone back and forth a lot. I've gone back and forth a lot since I filmed my first video a couple days ago. I went back and forth in between the time when I first saw it and when I was filming. It's my least favorite of the Polin promotional things that they've released thus far. I definitely don't hate it, but it's not my favorite. The other clips, like the Goodnight Mr. Bridgerton and the Lessons clip, had me gagging. They had me gagging in a way that I never thought was possible. Okay, so I just am much more personally excited and taken by those clips, and I think this is also personal preference. To me, this is not my favorite type of promotional content. What it feels like to me personally is like, oh, the actors came in for a day, put on their character's costume, and then took a bunch of pictures. You know what I mean? Like, it gives that. It doesn't give Penelope and Colin, or even Kate and Anthony, the clip of them kissing that they released after the season. I remember thinking, I was like, oh, Johnny and Simone just kissing. Like, it looked like Johnny and Simone kissing to me. I was like, oh, they had to do extra kissing outside of the actual script. Like, it just, there's something about it that just takes me out of it. It doesn't really feel like the characters to me. It feels like the actors doing promotion. But if you gag, period, love that for you. I'm really glad that you love it. This just isn't my favorite. At first, I was just absolutely shocked based off of previous experience that they were giving us anything of the leads. One lead, let alone two, both of them in the same shot, in the same frame. I could not believe what I was seeing. So I was living. Then I watched it again and was not living. And since then, since I filmed the video, now that I've seen a bunch of still images and GIFs of it, I prefer that a lot more. In GIF form or still, this is a lot better promotion to me. There's something about the creative direction when you watch the video in its entirety that just didn't resonate with me. The really, really intense, like loud music that felt very dark and brooding. The slow-mo, the editing, the way that they cut from certain shots to another, the slow zooms in. It was giving very soap opera, which I think was their intended purpose, so congratulations, you were successful. I just didn't love it. Because again, it also felt a little bit to me like, they're like, Colin and Penn can be sexy. Look at them. Like, they're sexy. Like, that's what it felt like they were trying to do. And it didn't really feel like Colin and Penn to me. Again, it felt like the actors doing promotion. But reading analyses of it and also just looking at still images and GIFs, that is so much better. So much better. Just watching GIFs of that without, like, the weird edits and cuts and music, I'm like, okay. Like, thank you for the vision. Thank you for giving it to me. I need it in my head, and I will continue to improve this. Thank you. So I'm thrilled, and I'm grateful regardless. I might do an analysis of the facial expressions and things like that, because it's been interesting seeing different people's interpretations of it. Because a lot of people have really different interpretations of what this is and what it could mean for the show. I think it means little to nothing for the show, probably, in hindsight. It might be a foreshadowing, it might be a nod, it might be a wink, sure. But I think this is just like them being like, Penn and Colin in a mirror being sexy. Like, that's what they were going for mostly. But I do want to say that yesterday I was giving alternative options, like what I would have preferred to this clip. And one of the things that I said, and I'll put it in, I think what they're trying to do is show a new dimension to them to get people excited for some of the things to come in season 3. The maturity and the change in dynamic, the sexuality being added to it. Like, and I get that. They just need to be silly and goofy being like cute, or like Penelope looking at Colin and then him looking and her looking, like her looking away, or vice versa. Would love that to show how the tables have turned now. Penelope's like distracted. Oh my god, get that. Like, get Penelope walking off. Penelope's looking at him and then he looks over and then she looks away. And then do juxtapose to Penelope's walking away from Colin. Or Penelope's just like minding her own business and Colin's like staring at her like Penelope has done the past 2 seasons. So we see that this dynamic is going to shift. We see that there's this undercurrent of sensuality. And then lo and behold, today, that's what they post. What? By the way, I've only watched this once and I don't think I even watched it in its entirety. So you are going to be seeing like a really fresh reaction to this. Let me get this. Thank you. That is so much better. That is so much more pleasing to me. That is so much more That gives everything. That gives more Pin and Colin to me. That hints at the dynamics that are coming up, and also just like tropes in general that we see a lot in these types of dynamics. Also, love the dress full length. I don't know that it's my favorite dress that we've seen of hers, but full length, I was like, oh, I see why they chose it. Like that full dress, the full look from head to toe. Wow. Period. It was so much more of a serve to me, again, than the clip that they released a couple of days ago. Like, that just is so much more of a serve. And I can't believe I literally said it, except I can believe it because I'm made for this shit. I am built for this shit. Let me tell you, like, if I was in charge of a Bridgerton promotional campaign, it just would be out of this world. There's nothing that I'm more equipped to do. You know what I mean? Like, the ideas that I have. It's just, the ideas that I have, especially for Benedict's season. I'm just saying, like, I literally want to be hired. Get me on the team at the very least. But yeah, that's so much better. That's music to my ears. That is candy for my eyes. I love to see it. Okay, so for this video, I will end it here. Again, I might not be reacting to like every piece of promo, but if you want to see more reactions, I might do some on my TikTok as they come out. And I have so many videos coming that are already like either done or almost done or in the process of being made. If you like Bridgerton even the slightest bit, you will want to subscribe. I will have something for you. I guarantee that. So I will see you for the many other videos that I will continue to make leading up to season 3 of Bridgerton. And let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, your speculations. I'm gonna film a separate video right now, I think, on a couple of theories that I came up with. And I'll be very interested to see what people have to say about that. But for now, for today, for the promotional campaign, this is it. And I will see you soon. Bye!